now we're gonna have a presentation about resting areas for ecomobility. It's a project that we would like to have in the island. Stavroula Katsogianni is a landscape architect, and she will explain a bit more about this project. Because usually, if we say resting areas, because if we have bicycles in the island, and we need a place with shade so that people can rest, right? Because if there is a lot of sun and it's summer and you are riding a bike, you need to rest from time to time, so for the road. So it's necessary to have resting areas for the ecomobility. So in the future, let's say we can achieve to have also electric bus. We also need to have some stops, and the stops, they need to have shade, right? So she will explain a bit more about it. Stavroula, the first.
To have the presentation. Okay. Θα μιλήσουμε για μικρές οάσεις που μπορούμε να δημιουργήσουμε μέσα σε ένα τοπίο.
So we will talk about those green oases, these locations. They have some similar characteristics, but they may differ based on where this oasis might be located. An oasis might be a sanctuary for someone where people can find pleasant conditions in order to stay, to find a refugee, to feel cool, protected, and they can also feel nice, well, in that environment. And usually that kind of environment attracts life. We do apologize, there is a technical issue with this sound. We have a second channel.
We do apologize, there is technical issue with this slide. We do apologize, there is.
Αφού τώρα δεν μιλάω, πώς ακούμε τη διερμηνία.
Πώς μπορούμε να δημιουργήσουμε τώρα μια τέτοια μικρή όαση?
So, how can we create such an oasis?
Υλικά που θα χρησιμοποιήσουμε μπορούν να είναι μόνο
We
φυσικά.
may use only natural material.
Ένα δέντρο
A
ίσως
tree
να
might be enough sometimes in order to create shade that can give refuge to our living species.
Μπορεί να μην είναι απλά ένα δέντρο, μπορεί να είναι μια ομάδα δέντρων.
It might be a group of trees, there might be water, or a wooden bench. Nevertheless, with simple natural materials, we can create stops, if you wish, in order to allow people to rest, people and animal and insects to rest and find shelter. So now let us discuss the ecosystem of Elafonissos to get to know it. It is a very special ecosystem. It belongs to the Natura 2000 network, a system that is dynamic, of course, but on the other hand, it is also sensitive. This ecosystem has found some valves in order to protect itself. Nevertheless, human activity intervenes to this equilibrium and therefore it loses its balance. So let us focus on 3 points because that will help us how we chose our plan. First of all, we have the coastal line, which is protected by the white hills around the sea,
στερεώνονται από κάποια φυτά,
those are kept by some plants, such as cedar tree.
αχρωστόδες φυτό, όπως είναι η κρίνη, όπως είναι η
Those sand dunes are protected by those plants, and then we continue in the inner part of the island where we have these gray sand dunes, and those sand dunes are kept and protected by other shrubs and small plants such as salvia.
σχήνα, όπως αφάνες κλπ. Θα έχετε
I'm sure that you have all seen that the ecosystem of Elafonisos, along with every other Mediterranean ecosystem, the plants produce a lot of seeds because the conditions are difficult, so those plants should be able to make sure that they will be able to leave their seeds behind in order to reproduce themselves. So now we want to take a better look at our proposal. We have created a circular route that people can choose to walk it or to cycle along it. This route, circular route, consists of 3 routes. The blue route from the village to Samos Beach, and it has got an oriental orientation. The yellow route starting from Samos to the lower part of the island, and the pink route which starts from the lower part of the island going towards the village with a northwestern orientation. However, let us take a look at the map of the island. You can see the blue, the yellow and the pink route. You can also see some spots, some stops in number 14, for example, and let us see in detail how we chose those stops. So they were chosen because they are next to a landmark, for example, or a small church, an opening in the road, or an existing tree, for example. So this is how we chosen those 14 spots. They don't have the same distance from each other because we were opting for a natural sequence, if you wish. We have also checked if the soil there allows us to intervene and plant the necessary trees, and we have also taken a look at the orientation of the place in order to achieve the maximum shading results to the people that will go there for shelter. The plants that we have chosen were chosen in order not to change the identity of the landscape. We didn't want to plant trees that are not characteristic of a Mediterranean island. At the same time, we chose plants that are not invasive, because those plants, those invasive plants, they can leave their seeds behind and they grow out of control, and it is really difficult to control them. Also, we have chosen plants that can come up to the difficult climate conditions, so the difficult conditions of this dry land. They do not need watering, or they do not need a specific soil in order to grow. And we also took care and chose those kinds of plants that would allow us to create a natural environment as much as we can. So we have chosen various species. Now, let us talk about some of those plants. When it comes to the blue route, we propose the pine trees, Pinus pinea in Latin. its scientific name. This is a very good plant for coastal lines. It has a moderate speed of growth, but it can live a lot of years, and it can do a lot for the natural environment. Then the oleaster, the Oleagrus angustifolia in Latin, it is a tree with fruit, and that attracts a lot of insects and birds, and it is also very resistant to the salt and to the wind. Then we have the so-called Casuarina and the Tamarix parviflora, two trees that are also very resistant, and they can grow well along the sea. They live a lot of years, and they can offer shade without any need for management. And let us discuss some of those points that were chosen for those oases, for those stops, starting with the blue route from the village to Samos Beach. On our right hand, we find a small church, Agios Giannis. This might be the first stop, the first oasis that could offer shelter, shade, and cool off the visitors or the tourists. This is where we chose to set up our first oasis. The second was chosen to be near the shipyard, with some bushes, and then you can see that there is an opening in the road where we choose to plant the trees in order for the people to be able to stop with safety. Later on, there are the fossil rocks. So across those fossil rocks there is also a small opening, and this is where we've chosen to plant the trees and the shrubs, then in the bushes, then going towards Samos. And our interventions here try to mimic, let's say, promenade, because we will plant trees along the road. And here, starting from Samos Beach to go towards the lower part of the island, we found ourselves over the Samos Beach, and here going towards the inner part of the island, where we have crops and a more intense Mediterranean character, more trees. So we choose to plant trees such as the carob tree, Keratonia siliqua in Latin, or the Quercus siliquastrum, the Judas tree, which are characteristic for the Mediterranean landscape, which along the olive trees which are already planted here, they will create a very interesting landscape. We also plant some fig trees that would give us also fruit, and they will allow insects, birds, and people to be fed that would pass from those points. Here, moving towards the inner part of the island, the mainland, we also have some points where we will plant trees, and the three trees are the carob tree, the fig tree, and the Judas tree. Now we reach the lower part of the island, and we start to continue and go towards the village. Here there are some trees, mainly pine trees, that could be used and include them as points of reference in this route. 3 or 4 points, if memory gets me right. We will need some intervention in order to prune them, to make them lower, the lower branches, to prune the lower branches in order to be able to give shelter to bypassing people. And here you can see some other stops going nearer to the village.
εκτός από τα δέντρα,
And
καλό θα ήταν
apart
να
from the trees,
φυτέψουμε και
it would be
θάμνους,
good to plant
έτσι ώστε να
bushes
προσελκύσουμε
that
περισσότερη
would attract
βιοποικιλότητα,
biodiversity
δέντρα μας
to
από τους
protect our
άνεμους,
trees
αλλά
from
και
the
για να
winds, and
οριοθετηθούν
but also
κατά
to,
κάποιο τρόπο στα σημεία
let's say,
αυτά στάσεις.
make those spots into
Πώς,
landmarks.
τι μέγεθος φυτών
So,
επιλέγουμε
which
τώρα
is
για
the
να
size of the
φυτέψουμε?
trees that we
Προτιμάμε
want to
να
plant?
επιλέξουμε
We
μικρά φυτά,
prefer young,
έτσι ώστε να
small
μπορέσουμε να
plants
επιβιώσουμε,
that would be
γιατί αν
able to
επιλέξουμε
survive,
μεγάλα
because
δέντρα και
if we
μεγάλους
plant
θάμνους, θα
big
δυσκολευτούν
bushes or big
να
trees,
τα βγάλουν πέρα.
they
Έτσι,
will
λοιπόν, επιλέγουμε μικρά
not
μεγέθη.
grow so easily. So this is
Φυλάκια
why
που
we
ανοίγουμε
opt
για
for
να
young
φυτευτούν
trees.
τα φυτά μας,
The
είτε είναι δέντρα είτε
holes that we
θάμνους,
dig
πρέπει να είναι 30%
should be
με
30
40%
to
μεγαλύτερη
40%
από την
larger than
ριζοβάλα
the
που έχει
roots
το φυτό που θα
of
φυτέψουμε.
the plant.
Μέσα σε κάθε λάκκο θα πρέπει να
Within
προσθέσουμε
its hole,
οργανική
we should
ουσία,
add
ίσως
some
και κάποιο
organic
υλικό που συγκρατεί
material
υγρασία,
or
έτσι
some
ώστε να βοηθήσει στην αρχή το δέντρο μας ή το φυτό μας να επιβιώσει.
moisturizing
Και επίσης
components,
κάτι πάρα πολύ
and
σημαντικό είναι η στήριξη του δέντρου.
we should support
Με όχι
the
απλά
trees,
ένα ξύλο, αλλά προτείνουμε ένα
and we
συνδυασμό από
propose a
3 ξύλα,
combination of
πάνω στα
3
οποία θα προσδεθεί το δέντρο για να είναι πολύ
wooden rods
σταθερό,
that
γιατί εδώ
we
πέρα
will give the
έχουμε πολύ
necessary
δυνατούς
protection to
αέριδες
the tree,
που θα πρέπει να
since the winds in
προσέξουμε,
Elaphonesus
να
blow
προστατεύσουμε
really
τα
hard,
δέντρα
and
μας και
we
τα
should
φυτά μας
protect
όσο
our trees
μπορούμε
and plants as
περισσότερο.
much as we can.
Ένα μεγάλο ποσοστό
Large
φυτών
percentage
από
of
αυτά που
plants,
φυτεύουμε, ακόμα και όταν υπάρχει
even if
μόνιμη
when
φροντίδα,
they are taken care
ένα
of
ποσοστό,
properly,
συνήθως
a
30%
percentage
των
which is
φυτών αυτών
rather
πεθαίνουν.
30% dies.
Εδώ λοιπόν θα πρέπει να προσέξουμε,
So we
έτσι
should
ώστε
take care
να προβλέψουμε μάλλον,
and
έτσι
predict
ώστε να έχουμε τις
and
μικρότερες
prepare ourselves in
δυνατές
order to have
απώλειες
the
από
less
τα φυτά
possible
που θα φυτέψουμε.
losses from the
Και βασικό στοιχείο
plants that
για
will
να
be
μην έχουμε
planted.
μεγάλες
And
απώλειες, πέρα από όλα αυτά που
apart from
προείπαμε,
anything
είναι
else that
η
we have said,
παρουσία νερού
we
τα
should
πρώτα
be
χρόνια,
able to water them
της
during the
εγκατάστασης
first
των
years
φυτών μας
of
στο
their
νέο μας περιβάλλον. Έτσι, λοιπόν, μέσα στη
existence
μελέτη
in
μας
this new
αναφέρονται
environment. So
συγκεκριμένα
we
τα πότε πρέπει να
have
ποτίζονται
prepared a
τα
study
φυτά
according
μας,
to which we know
στις
the
διαφορετικές
times of the
εποχές του χρόνου
irrigation in the
και
different
πόσο
seasons
νερό
for those
χρειάζονται
plants and
έτσι
how
ώστε να
much water do they need
μπορέσουν
in
να
order to
επιβιώσουν.
be able to survive.
Σας ευχαριστώ
Thank you
πάρα
very
πολύ.
much.
Η μελέτη μας είναι
This
έτοιμη. Θα κατατεθεί
survey, this
στο
report is ready,
Ελαφώνησος
will be
Eco,
given
έτσι ώστε
to
να μπορέσει να
Elaphonesus
πάρει
Eco
τις
in order to be
αδειοδοτήσεις
able to take
και
the
να
necessary
προχωρήσει
licenses and
η,
permits and allow for this project to be implemented. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gula. I believe that you did a great job, and I believe that the role of Elaphonesus Eco, with your expertise, it is to give in a silver plate all the study you did it to the local Dimarchia, and it is up to the Dimarchia to make the action versus the Dimarchio, and due to your knowledge, if you could help us among the Dimarchia to get the permit, it is the right way to do it. I believe that what you're doing, it is 100% aligned what it was said by the Vice Governor of Laconia, Verutis, what was said by Anna, Vice Governor of the Tourist and Culture, what was saying about all the speakers, that planting trees, it is a way that is good for Greece and for the island. We need to try to have, as soon as possible, the green light from the Dimarchio. And in your mind, Gula, what is the best time to plant what we are proposing? It is September, October, November. What it is your proposal in order to get the plan that we will plant it in function also of the Meleti, I mean that what we have from Dimarchio, the green light. What is your proposal, Gula? Micro to Gula.
I believe that the best season for the planting is October, November, because it's season will have some rains, and the municipality, I think that it has the time to take care about the plants. I believe it's the best season. So we have 4 or 5 months to prepare the planting, to take all the decisions from the Dasarchio, for the municipality, for everyone.
Can you be, Yuvula, the watchdog in order to follow? Because knowing the bureaucracy and the timing, I don't want to arrive in October and to say we don't have the permission. So it must be start from tomorrow. Our Major Effie is coming back today. You have time to speak with her this evening or tomorrow. Real to push, because it is the best way for the nature. And also what we are saying, it is what we are doing as a planting is not only good for the nature, for the island, for the biodiversity, but also to help the new future of Elaphonisos. They become a laboratory of excellence in sustainable development and natural preservation. And one way it is to have people that walk around the island by foot. Secondly, to have a bicycle that could be electrical, not electrical. They go around the island, and if you like to promote the doing, the rest area, it is a must. Otherwise, if you go from the village to Simos with the rest area, you arrive cooked in Simos, and you will not do back again. But with the rest area, we could really have a new way of doing, because we don't need to go by car from Elaphonisos to the Simons, but you can go walking, by bike, or what we are trying to do is to have electrical buses that will bring you around the island, but one electrical buses that bring 25 people, it is 25 car less. And if you go every 15 minutes, there are 20 by 4, 80 car less by hour. And this one, it give a nature to be protected. What do you think, Gula?
I agree with you. Tomorrow I will go to, not tomorrow, today I will I'll try to meet mayor. So I will connect with her to send the study, and Efiliaru will send it to Dasarchio or everywhere.
Okay.
And
Just
I will
secondly,
keep a connection with her to check how it's going.
Being there, I ask you together with Iris. In the month of February, we plant 350 Picrodaphne, some olives, some trees in two different areas. One belonging to the church nearby Agios Spiridon, really interior to Panagia area church, and the other it is near the sport area and near the new school where you like to plant trees. It will be good if you could go to check what is done, because I believe that my feeling it is that why some of them they are not in good shape, because they were not irrigated. And if you don't have irrigation, the trees will die. I believe that we need to do the same. The person that is in charge, he cannot drink any water if he doesn't give water to the trees. It is a way that she or he will give water to trees in order to have permission to drink water from her body. And secondly, all this area, they have opportunity to have a pipe of water. It is not true that we don't have water in this area. Around the church, we have water. Around the football area, you have to do elastico we have a pipe with water. The same it is near the new school. So if we care, we are ready. If we don't care, we will be a loser. Do you agree, Vulan?
Yes, of course, I agree. Water means life. Without water, we have no life. So we have to check if we if they have the ability to take care about the plants.
Okay, I agree 100%.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vulan. We keep in touch. Caterina, next one.
Thank you, Enrico. Thank you, Vula, for your presentation.